Okay, if only God can judge, then why you acting dumb? It's sounding like a front. Oh yeah, oh yeah.
God be my witness, let me really live this. Let me know forgiveness, yeah. God be my witness, better than the riches. Loving be my mission, oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
God be my witness, I'm caught up in my business, caught up in my wish list, yeah. God be my witness, help me really live this, help me really live
Okay,
this.
they just work for the check, huh? Don't know really what next. What's next? My work turned to darkness to daylight. Take away the money, what's left? What's left? I can see it all worldwide. You think we got no drive? Hit that turbo. Better move on to the side. Such a peculiar kind, such a peculiar type. Man, I got no days off. Yeah, with a Ferris Bueller mind. Yeah, since you got no chill, I be the cooler type. Chill. Yeah, I don't take no pills, never the bluer type. Whoa, too deep. I'm on a different high. I'm on to get that real good loving. From who? With my wife. Hey Grace. Yo, I don't ride these waves. I've been scuba diving. Yo, stand a test of time. That's my school assignment. Yo, don't need a jeweler. I'm shining brighter than a diamond. I'm listening to a bit of Malachi. Need to live without an alibi. Ooh, yeah. Here's a battle cry in the desert. I'm trying to figure out who's a ride or die. Is a fight or flight. Ooh, pray for me. Yeah.
God be my witness, let me really live this. Let me know forgiveness, yeah.
Well, I am a hip-hop artist, songwriter, husband, all based out of Atlanta, Georgia. I was born and raised in Maryland. That's like near Washington, D.C. And yeah, I started off my music journey with AMP, and back then I went by the stage name Jay Han because that was just short for James Han. But I about 3-4 years ago I changed my artist name to Uzuhan because I felt like even in the growth of me as a man, I felt like my heart was tugged towards the unchurched, or rather the de-churched. What I mean by that is the people on the fringes, or the people who might have grown up going to church but no longer go because they don't believe in the institution of organized religion, or they've been let down or betrayed by someone in the church or something. I felt and still do feel a big tug towards those kind of people. And I felt like with where my music was currently at about 3-4 years ago, I felt like something needed to change a little bit. Maybe not even change, maybe that's not the right word, just pivot a little bit. I just wanted to because my heart is going to be the same. Like I want to glorify God by enjoying Him in everything I do. So with the creation of music, like I wanted to make more music that created some sort of safe space for the de-churched. Because for me, like I know what it feels like to be displaced, not feel like you have a place to belong, feel like you're in constant crisis of faith. Like I know what that's like. But as AMP, in many ways, like, for someone who's really hungry to know Jesus, like, AMP was perfect for that very person, because the music that we created was like literal food for the soul. And I'm not saying I'm not doing that, but for someone who is really seeking truth and wanting to see, have a higher purpose for their life, but are afraid to even hear the words church, or if they see a pastor they cringe, or any of that. I felt like I wasn't afforded those spaces, and I really wanted to be where I was moved with compassion when I saw the flock, and I wanted to position myself to be with those people, to not only with the music would afford me relationships that allows me to be the hands and feet of Christ there with, along with my friends and my teammates. So that's kind of my whole vision with Uzuhan, I think it's still like discipleship. For me, like the core of what I want to do and what these relationships mean to me is ultimately like discipleship. It's driven by this desire to exemplify Christ, to be Christ, to learn from each other, and like these lessons that you learn as a man of faith, lessons that you learn as a young man or whatever. Things are not just taught to you; they have to be caught. They have to be lived with. So, like I wouldn't say that discipleship is not at the core of what I do. That's the very essence of why I have positioned myself to give me opportunities for, I guess, that discipleship, or however you might define discipleship.
Regarding you as a musician, you're not positioning yourself as like Christian musician, right? Like you're collaborating with like PH1, Brother Sue, like you're also working with like people who are not obviously Christian, right? So
yes.
What kind of what are your thoughts on this, and what is your approach on that, and like what kind of difficulties do you have to face working in the non-Christian music industry?
I feel like that's a very good question, because it's something that I'm always kind of like adjusting and figuring out along the way. Because for me, ultimately, at the core of who I am, I'm a Christian. So like, it's not like if someone calls me a Christian rapper, when I was a little younger, I used to be like, I'm a rapper, saying all this nonsense. But really, like, if someone calls me a Christian rapper, like I don't care. It's just more of a badge of honor. I know I'm different. I know even if I didn't do music, if I was I do graphic design. So if I was a graphic designer and they called me a Christian graphic designer, which most people don't, but like, if they happen to say that, like, okay, fine. I live in a way that's like, very Christian to you, and that's okay with me. Even at the part-time job that I have, I'm not like very I'm not proselytizing like that, but I am very different, and not in a judgy way. And people just assume, like that this and this because I am Christian. And I'm like, well, actually, I have some thoughts about that, but I respect the fact that you respect me enough to like think I have a different approach. So, in regards to the music industry, like for me, I don't mind working with someone who's outrightly Christian or not. I just want to create, if I work with somebody, regardless of their faith background, I want to create something that like challenges us a little bit as we're creating it. That's how I'm able to work with other people who are not believers. If we're believers, that makes it even more fun, because we have a very similar goal in mind, similar vision, But in regards to like collaborating with somebody who isn't, or maybe they're just on their way, everyone's journey is different. So anybody who's on their way, I like to work with people where they're at, and try to, like when I was working with like Jibanov, like I don't know what his faith background really is like, but I really liked the texture of his voice, and I know as we were talking more, he had a real love for his parents. And for me, the motivation of why I love my parents, is because they raised me, and also because I want to, I have a Christ-like love for them. I want them to be saved. I want them to know Christ. But, I took this desire that we both had to love our parents, serve them, honor them. And I used that as the basis of our song, Mama, We Made It. Like, what does making it mean for other people? Like that word, that phrase is defined differently. But, I was able to find common ground, and we were able to create something from it without compromising how we feel. I mean, like I feel like he was pretty proud of what song we produced. Yeah, I just it's tough. It can be tough because for me as a musician, I want to be plugged into some sort of like ecosystem. You know, like me being Uzuhan, I want to be plugged into like the Christian music scene, but that's like, you know, that's, I don't feel like I quite fit there, you know? Okay, then I want to be in like the Korean music scene. It's like, well, maybe I need to add more Korean into my songs, which I could do, but even still, like, will I really fit in there? Maybe not. Okay, I want to be in the Asian music scene or whatever. If I pick some sort of industry, like, I don't feel like I quite really, I don't know. I don't feel like I fit or belong anywhere. So that's always, it's tough for me to define, but ultimately I know I am a Christian and that informs everything I do.
Yeah, amen. Like, I mean, you mostly said everything with that, but like, have you ever thought of like just going with the flow, like with the mainstream music, not like separating your music from your actual Christian values?
I mean, I think maybe when I was like just starting out and wasn't really sure what to do, but because I started off with AMP, and we were explicitly very Christian, you know, like during that time, it was very easy for me to be like, well, you know, I don't want to be so churchy, but I don't know, I think we should, you know, I've definitely had those thoughts, but, you know, I've been fortunate enough to just learn along the way that, you know, divorcing your faith from your work, like that just doesn't, it's not going to sit well with you, and it doesn't, it's a narrow view of eternity, of our calling. It's a very narrow view, and I refuse to live that way. And I've learned that it's a narrow view because I used to have that. So I've been taught that there's more fulfillment, there's more joy to be had when you don't have such a narrow view of works in your faith.
That's really encouraging.
You know, the longer I do this, the more that like the comments from listeners and fans, longtime fans, that like that matters more. And what I mean by that is that you know, it's so easy for me to just go through the motion of creating music, putting it out there, people praise you, and then you're like, okay, move on. But when people leave comments and messages like, hey, this literally changed my life, literally changed the course of my life, it just, and have, you know, having lived a little bit, like realizing what that means for your life and your mindset and perspective to change on something that, you know, might be difficult to deal with, or something that, you know, like a song being able to sit with you and provide some sort of comfort. Sound waves, you know, these are sound waves. When the music is able to go beyond just sound waves and you know, like provide something like comfort to somebody, that like, I really cherish that more and more, you know. And the songs that I try to create, like I want people to feel like they're seen, they're heard, because especially for people, you know, who, you know, goes back to the de-churched. People might have grown up in church and might even still be going to church, but having crisis of faith and feel like they can't talk to anyone because they have to act a certain way at church or act a certain way in front of other Christian people, you know, because maybe everyone else around them is afraid to explore the hard questions or be honest. You know, like I hope that at least some of my songs are able to, like, I don't know, be almost like a friend to the listener. Be like, oh, there's that, I'm not totally crazy. Like, there's somebody who kind of knows what I'm going through. They might not know everything, but they kind of do, and I don't feel so alone.
Someone to relate
so
to.
That's that, those kind of, when I get those kind of comments, like that really, like, no amount of money and providing for my family could really compare to that, because that's amazing. That's something that I can't create. That is something that God is doing, and I marvel at that.
That's great.
Right now, I plan on putting out as many singles as possible in 2019. I'm just working on. I'm just trying out like new different styles and just. I mean, it's not that different, but I'm just trying to create as many songs. I'm aiming for one song a month, which I've been doing so far. So that's, you know, I'm aiming to do that. I'm aiming to, well, I guess like build with the community that I have right now in Atlanta, and just building, and then on the music end, I mean, just like adding more value to my current listeners. Not just trying to be like so hungry to have like thousands and thousands of people who like might know me, but just trying to like create like some sort of like, I don't know, some sort of kinship amongst my current listeners who are been journeying with me. So yeah, I have like merch ideas. That's a very that was a very general way to say I have like merchandise ideas.
Yeah.
To be my own, to be my own, to be my own man, to be my own man. When I'm feeling scared to fight, I know it's time to be my own.